Hello, everybody, and thank you for connecting to the class. I hope that you have a good Saturday and a good weekend. Today is a holiday, so the plan is to continue with the English class and to try to help with some vocabulary and some expressions. You can see some good vocabulary and some native expressions, so hopefully this class will help. We will begin with an introduction document to explain the grammar for a few moments, and then we will continue with the article. And the article is from a review. It's a movie review from The Independent, and it's just good vocabulary again. So that's the idea, to help with vocabulary and to help with grammar as well. So hopefully you can benefit and you can learn from the class. On the left, this is the typical structure for the week. At 9 o'clock in the morning, we have the speaking group. A speaking class is available for everybody who wants to join. You are welcome to join at 9 o'clock in the morning. And at 11 o'clock, 11:15, we continue with the free lesson. And at 4 o'clock, we have specific webinars. But today, at 1 o'clock, we have the specific webinar related to the B2 exam. So that's the plan for today. At 1 o'clock, it's a specific webinar dedicated to B2 exams. And that's the schedule for next week. It's probably more or less the same. So hopefully there's no problem with connection, and hopefully there's no problem with distractions or disruptions. And I hope you can enjoy the class. Okay, so this document is the most important document, and it's the introduction to English. The most important grammar concepts are on this page. So this page is key. This page is very, very important. There are 3 sections. The first section is the use of English, and that is in relation to accents. So we have different accents around the world, and that's very difficult when you learn English to understand different people speaking. That's a big part of English, and it's very important. Phrasal verbs are also very important. It's the combination of the verb and a preposition with a second significance, and we have phrasal verbs. We use a lot of phrasal verbs, and they're a massive area. Idioms are also really important, like expressions. So idioms are very typical in conversation, and we use idioms all the time to make English a little funnier, to make English a little more entertaining, and idioms are a big part of English as well. Conversation, it's necessary. You try to practice conversation, and during this class, I try to help with pronunciation. That's the really important area of use of English. The next section are the different tenses, and here you can see the most important content in relation to the tenses. So basically, it's the present, the past, and the future. We have the present simple, past simple, future simple. But the past simple, we have a lot of irregular verbs, and that's really, really important, because a lot of the verbs are irregular, and it's necessary to learn by memory the important past simple verbs. It's very, very difficult. Also, we have the future simple. After the simple, we have the continuous, present continuous, past continuous, future continuous, and that is very important as well, the structure of the continuous. And also we have the perfect, present perfect, and past perfect, okay, and future perfect. So these are very technical explanations, but it's necessary you are very familiar and very clear with the tenses. There are maybe lots of grammar books, lots of websites to study the tenses, and I recommend maybe the British Council grammar website and also the Cambridge grammar website. They're the 2 best websites to study your tenses and to study your grammar, because it's necessary that you are familiar with the vocabulary and the concepts before you really master English, okay? And also we have the concept of the infinitive, and the infinitive is the base of the verb: to go, to eat, to drink, to have. This is the infinitive. The conditionals, again, are very heavy in the theory, in the books. The conditionals are very, very tricky. There are a lot of rules with the conditionals. We have the 0, first, second, third, mixed conditionals. So there's different categories of the conditionals, but basically in reality, it's related to the word if and the different tense. If it rains today, I will not go to the city center. If I speak with my friend, I will ask about the sport. So the conditionals are important, and it's necessary, again, that you continue your studying and you continue to learn and to be familiar with the rules in relation to grammar and the tenses. And also in this context, the conditional, we have the active and the passive, and that's very important structure, very advanced. and we use the active and the passive all the time. And you can see the little example here. The man kicked the ball. That's the active, subject, verb, object. And to create the passive, the ball was kicked by the man. It's a bit difficult to construct. All the tenses are a bit tricky to construct, but this is important that you are aware of them, and you need to maintain your study yourself. You need to continue studying the tenses every day, I think, to learn a little bit more. Okay, grammar. Other grammar concepts, we have a noun, an article, and an adjective. So the function of the adjective is to describe the noun, big house, small car, and the position of the adjective is before the noun, and the article is necessary. We have two possibilities, a house or the house. Okay, so they're the two articles that are very important. The concept of countable and uncountable is very, very important, particularly in relation to how much and how many. Okay, also with the adjective, the concept of comparative and superlative is very, very important. Also, for example, this house is big, but this house is bigger than this house, but this house is the biggest. So that area is called comparative and superlative. Adverb is function. Its function is to describe the verb, and the adverb typically ends in ly, quickly, slowly, happily, rapidly, rapidly. And the function of the adverb is to describe the verb. For example, drink quickly, talk slowly. So the adverbs are important. The next category is modal verbs, and modal verbs are very unique and very particular. Can, could, may, might, shall, should, ought to, must are used in particular situations. For example, ability, permission, possibility, recommendation, advice, and obligation. They're the most typical situations we need to use the modal verbs. Prepositions are used for movement, direction, and position. We have a lot of prepositions. They're very small words, and they are so important for every part of English, for movement, for direction, and for position, but also in phrasal verbs. When you create the phrasal verb, we need the preposition a lot. Okay, so they're very, very important. Also, the difference between possessive adjective, possessive pronoun, and object pronoun, very technical words, very, very technical terms, but basically, in reality, the difference between my house, your house, his house, masculine, her house, feminine, or the house is mine, the house is yours, the house is his, and the house is hers, masculine and feminine. That's very important. And the third possibility, give the house to me, give the house to you, give the house to him, masculine, and give the house to her, feminine. They are very, very important areas, and the confusion is very common. So you need to be very sure with that area. Also, this, that, these, and those is important, the distinction, and the distinction between another, other, the others, and the others. So that also is very, very important, and it's necessary you are clear. Creating the question is difficult, and it's necessary you are familiar with the rules to create the questions. In the grammar book, we have a lot of rules in relation to questions, and that's important also. Okay, suffixes and prefixes for me are very, very good indicator, a very good area to study. So I recommend that you try to pay attention to the area of suffixes and prefixes. This will give you a big indication of the form of the word. Is it verb? Is it a noun? Is it an adjective? So the suffix and the prefix is very important. Okay, linkers, conjunctions. So we have some simple linkers, simple conjunctions, but we have some more advanced and some more formal conjunctions and linkers as well. And it's necessary you are clear to use them appropriately. Okay, vocabulary, the best way to improve your vocabulary is to read. You should try to read different books, different magazines, different newspapers, and reading is the best way to improve your vocabulary, and it's the best way to see different structures and to see different grammar topics. So reading is the best medicine, it's the best recommendation, and it is really important. Writing is important as well, and people need to practice your writing regularly to maintain your writing. So that's a big part as well. Okay, and exams are popular, and today at 1 o'clock we have a specific webinar dedicated to the B2 level, and it's open for everybody. People can attend, no problem. You can attend for the first time, and we have maybe 2 or 3 people attending today, and it's just an opportunity to look at more exercises, more vocabulary, more expressions, and maybe more conversation as well. That's today at 1 o'clock, and it will be related to exercises from the B2. On Wednesday, we have the IELTS class, and it's the same concept. And on Thursday, we have the advanced class. So every week, we have different classes dedicated to different levels and material exercises from exams. Okay, good. So now I will begin with the article, and this article is related to television. Okay, television in Ireland and the popularity of programs, Irish programs that are very popular. And also in England, there's some Irish programs that have become very popular in England, popular in the United States. And this article from The Independent by this lady, Ellie Harrison, just explains some of the series, the Irish series, or the specific vocabulary is a sitcom. The sitcom is like a comedy, like a series, like a telenovela in Spanish. So this article just focuses on the Irish sitcoms, and it explains the reason why they are popular and the reason why they are successful. So there's good vocabulary, and we can begin. So this newspaper is typical in Britain. It's called The Independent, and it's just a good quality article. So very similar. It's necessary for you to read. You need to continue reading, and that's the idea for the class today. Okay, so I will begin with the pronunciation just to practice. So appalling behavior is outrageously funny. It's a quotation, how the Irish sitcom took over telly. Okay, so that's a phrasal verb already. The Emerald Isle has been making the world laugh for forever, but a recent wave of comedies have found a new level of success. Ellie Harrison meets the stars behind them, including Sharon Horgan and Donal Gleeson. That's a very Irish name, and it's difficult to find out why Ireland does dark humor best. So that's the context. It's an article in relation to Irish humor and Irish television. Okay, so this is just a little interesting text. So you can see some famous Irish series, and it's just, obviously a lot of people don't know these series, but these are characters from the Irish series. And you can see in the past 5 years, there has been an explosion of comedy shows, comedy programs from Ireland, drawing in fans. That's really important vocabulary from around the world. Okay, so let me analyze the vocabulary first. And as I said, appalling is the adjective, and it means very, very bad. Okay, so for example, the weather is appalling, the traffic is appalling, and it means really, really bad. Okay, but remember the importance with the adjective with ing and ed. Okay, so the difference between ing and ed. So for example, I am appalled is very important, and it means that you are very disappointed, you're disgusted. That's another possibility. So your sentiment, your feeling, you feel appalled, you feel disgusted, and that means that something is disgusting or something is appalling, but you feel appalled. Okay, you feel really angry, you feel disgusted. Really fluent vocabulary and really, really good. So behavior is like really, really bad behavior, and the verb is to behave. And the adjective is, or sorry, the noun is behavior, and just good vocabulary again. I think it's very typical. Good behavior, bad behavior. We also say on your best behavior. So if you visit your friend, you visit the family of your friend. So it's very formal, maybe very respectful. So you are on your best behavior. So you need to act very, very well. Okay, or so that's a typical expression, on your best behavior. Outrageous is the adjective, and it's very good as well. So it's very typical in conversation. We say a lot of things. We can say the news was outrageous. For example, my combination today, my color combination is outrageous, which is very dramatic. Okay, So it is very, very important. You can see here the preposition out, and you can see the suffix us. So it's typical for the adjective us, O-U-S. So rage is very, very angry. Okay, so if you are raging, that means you're very, very mad, you are angry. Okay, and we say a rage is the noun. So you have a rage, you are furious. Okay, but if something is outrageous, the significance is unbelievable. Okay, it's unbelievable, it's amazing. It's a good adjective, very, very typical, very common. The comment was outrageous, it was controversial, it was negative maybe. And you can see my spelling is very bad, obviously, but controversial is something outrageous, something shocking. Okay, so these are typical synonyms. And here we see the adverb ly, and that's really just to describe the verb to be outrageous. So basically, outrageously funny is incredibly funny, unbelievably funny, amazingly funny. Okay, and how the Irish sitcom, remember a sitcom is like a comedy or a series. Okay, in Spanish it's typical a telenovela. So a sitcom, I think, is sit for situation and com for comedy. So it's a word that's very important. A sitcom is like a program, a comedy program. And as I said, the best translation is maybe a series or maybe a soap opera. Really, really important. And the phrasal verb here is key. So to take over is to dominate. So if you take over the company, that means you own, you're the new owner of the company, you're the new controller of the company, you take over the job, you take over the company, you take over the responsibility. So you are now the new owner, you have the new responsibility. And here the sitcom took over television to dominate. Okay, so it's possible as well to dominate. You can take over a country, and that's like to conquer. Okay, so to conquer a country, to conquer is to take over, and that's the significance here. The Irish program has dominated television in different parts of the world. That's the title, that's the context, that's the headline. Okay, the Emerald Isle is another name for Ireland. It's a nickname for Ireland. The Emerald Isle is very, very famous nickname for Ireland. And remember, the pronunciation is important because the S is silent. So the pronunciation is Isle. Okay, like island, almost the same. It is the same, really. Just the pronunciation is silent S, the island. And emerald, I think, is a color. Maybe this is like green. It's emerald is a color, but emerald is also a diamond or jewelry. It's an emerald. And it's just a name for Ireland as well. The Emerald Isle has been making. That's the present perfect continuous, very, very difficult tense. And you remember the introduction, the importance of the tense. And here it's a very advanced tense. So it's the present perfect continuous, something that happened continuously in the past. It's finished, but it's relevant to the present. Very difficult tense. So this is the reason you need to be familiar with the different tenses. Okay, the world laughed for forever, but a recent wave of comedies. So a wave is flexible. It's this action to wave, the verb. In the water, you have a wave, but in relation to fashion, it can be a wave. So something that's very popular, suddenly, very intense. It's a wave. Also for the pandemic, for the virus, we have the first wave of the pandemic, the second wave. And in relation to this article, a wave of comedy is like a collection, intense collection of comedies. Okay, have found a new level. So again, the present perfect, this is the tense, have found. It's the present perfect. Okay, it started in the past, it's finished. The construction is the auxiliary verb have and the participle. A new level of success. The adjective is success, and the verb is very important, to succeed in. That's really, really important lesson. So the verb is to succeed in, maybe plus the ing, for example. You succeeded in contacting your friend. So that's the typical structure, to succeed in ing. I succeeded in making the lasagna. Okay, so that's the important verb connected to success. And the adjective is successful. So a really important family, particularly the verb. Okay, so particularly the verb is very important to remember in English. And here it's the stars of the show, the stars, the characters, the actors behind the program. So that's just the significance behind them. Them is the object pronoun. You remember the introduction, give the house to me, give the house to you, give the house to him, give the house to her, give the house to them, plural. Okay. Remember the phrasal verb to find out. That's the significance to discover. So to find out is maybe to get the answer, to find the answer. Very, very important. I don't know the time of the football match, so I need to find out the time. I need to discover the time. Okay, not difficult, not too bad, just very general introduction, and probably we will have more difficult vocabulary here. And the next expression for me is very important. This expression, drawing in fans from around the world. So the topic is the comedy show, the comedy program, draws in. So this is really, really important verb. The verb to draw is like the painting. You draw the picture, you draw the painting. That's really important. Draw a cartoon. So draw is typical for the children, to draw the picture. But number two, it's very important to attract or extract. Okay, so to attract, to extract. So for example, you have an infection in your hand, you have a problem and you have a little infection and you need to draw out the infection. The significance is to extract out the infection. In the table, so this is my table, and here I have a section of the table that I extract, and I put the content in the box and I close. That's called a drawer in English. Okay, so a drawer is typical in a table. Compartment of a table. Okay, so it's probably compartment, and that's a significance because it's extract. Okay, but also another expression is to draw attention to yourself. So for example, today I'm wearing a very colorful top, very red, and a very colorful tie. So I look a bit different today. So I'm trying to draw attention to myself. I'm trying to attract attention to myself. Okay, so to draw attention to yourself is to attract. So really, really important. And always I have the same example with the musician, the concert. So for example, Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi comes to Dublin and Bon Jovi draws a lot of people to the stadium. He attracts a lot of people to the stadium. Okay, so here it's exactly the same significance. So the shows attract people, attract fans from around the world. So to draw you in is to attract you. Maybe the restaurant, typical in marketing. So the restaurant have the advertisement, and the advertisement says free dinner. Okay, so it's a very strong advertisement. So the advertisement draws you in, it attracts you. Really good, really fluent, really, really good level English and very common. Okay, here you can see the first paragraph. For me, the first sentence, this word is not typical in my opinion. I don't use it, but it is a legitimate word. And I think it's like humor. So if you find mirth, I think it's humor. It's another synonym for humor. It's very, very proficient. Misery is important. So misery is the noun and the adjective is miserable. So the person, it's possible, is miserable, very sad, very depressing. The weather in Ireland typically is miserable, very negative, very sad. A typical adjective, negative, sad, depressing. And the misery is the noun. Okay, so remember this structure, one of. This is a very good structure in English, but you need to remember the plural. Dublin. Dublin is one of the best cities, plural, in Ireland. Well, it's the biggest. I don't know, Superman is one of the best programs or one of the best movies. So you need to remember the plural. Here we have one of, and the plural is qualities. Okay, so finding humor in the difficult situations is one of the fundamental qualities to be Irish. That's the comment. And a typical expression we have in English, we say, if you're not laughing, you've only two options, to laugh or to cry. And I think in other languages, that's the same. So you have two options. You can laugh or you can cry. And this is the expression here. A Dubliner is the person from Dublin. So you are from Dublin. You are a Dubliner. It is possible as well, a dub. Okay, so a Dubliner or a dub, or you can say a Jackeen, which is typical as well. So I think a Jackeen is a Dubliner as well. That's very native expression, very typical. A Dubliner, a dub, a Jackeen, and that's possible as well. Okay. Wicked ability. So the Dubliner, the person with a wicked ability. Ability is the noun. The article is a. Wicked is the adjective, and it means very, very strong. If the person is very wicked, it could be negative, it could be positive. Okay, so for example, the person is very wicked, and it could be negative. But in this situation, it's probably like dark humor. Okay, if you have a wicked sense of humor, it's a very strong, dark sense of humor. Okay, wicked sense of humor is like a dark sense of humor. It's possible. It's very fluent, and it's possible as well. Okay, and then the other expression is to see the funny side of life. That's a very good expression, to see the funny side of life. And we have a very famous expression. We say always look on bright side of life as well. So always look on the bright side of life. On is the preposition for the side. Okay, so you're on my side, you're on her side, you're on his side in relation to an argument, in relation to a discussion. The next word is very, very good. So the Dubliner, my mother in that situation is fond of. So that's the subject. The verb is to be, and the adjective is fond. Really important adjective. And I'll give you an example. I am fond of chocolate. So I am fond of chocolate, and that means I love chocolate, or I really, really like chocolate, or maybe I'm a fan of chocolate. Okay, I am fond of that person. Maybe you can say I am a fond supporter, maybe, but the first two sentences are very, very typical. So I am fond of means you really, really like chocolate, or I'm fond of that person. It means you really like that person. Okay, so it's very, very fluent, very good quality, and very, very important. Okay, here we have the adverb always for a long time. Okay, so you are always here. I am always here. In Spanish, of course, it's siempre. And here the verb is has been. So it's the present perfect. It started in the past, it's finished, but it's relevant to the present. So there has been, always. The position is no problem. You can say there always has been, or there has been always, or there has always been. So for me, the position is flexible. You can put the word always in different positions. Obsession is the noun, and the article is an. So the article, normally we have two articles, a and the, but here it's an, because the noun begins with a vowel. Okay, and obsession is the noun, and the adjective is obsessed. Okay, so very, very important detail. The adjective is obsessed, and obsession is the noun. So really, really good. It is possible a verb to obsess about, to obsess over. They're the typical prepositions. You obsess about football, you obsess over the television. Good. And here it's an obsession with darkness. So an obsession with dark humor, with the comedy. Okay, folklore is like the literature, the stories, the songs, the books, the movies in tradition, in the history, are the folklore. Okay, because a folk is possible people as well. For example, Irish folks are very, I don't know, very small or very funny. So that means Irish people. Irish people are very small. Irish people are very funny, for example. So the word folks is very important. We can also say my folks, and the significance is my parents. You can also say folk music, which is like country music. So really, really good vocabulary. And here we have another verb here, to revel. Okay, so the topic is the literature. The topic, the subject is literature revels in it, and it is the darkness. Okay, so the verb, the key verb is to revel, and it means to enjoy. So you are reveling in your surroundings. You are really enjoying your surroundings. So you are reveling in your surroundings, and that means really enjoying. Okay, good vocabulary and interesting, but it is very, very good. Maybe to celebrate, to really enjoy, to revel. And you can say a reveler is the person who maybe enjoys the concert, the person who enjoys the movie. It's possible is a reveler. Okay, obviously different from rebel, which is completely different. So you've to rebel and a rebel, but here it's revel. So it's very important difference between the rebel and to revel. Okay. Here we have a movie or a book or a play. Okay, I think in the theater we have a play, and the play is set. That's like located. So the movie is set in Dublin. The movie is located in Dublin. So the verb set is located in this situation. Impoverished is very, very good adjective. You can see in the middle, it's related to pover. And in English, we have the key word poverty, which is the noun, and the adjective is poor. So it is a key word. And another adjective is impoverished. And basically, it's the same. If the person is impoverished, the person is maybe very poor, lack of food, malnutrition. So impoverished city, impoverished country is maybe a very poor country and a poor city, region of Ireland, where it rains relentlessly. Okay, so this is a very good word as well. The verb is to relent, and it's like to stop. It's more formal, it's more advanced, but the significance is to stop. Remember here, we have the ly, so the adverb, and the suffix is relentless. And this is very important because normally the suffix less is typical, homeless, jobless, maybe other possibilities, foodless, not really, but jobless and homeless. The significance is you have no home, no job. So relentless means it's impossible to stop. You do not stop. So you are relentless. The significance is you continue, continue, continue. You never stop. You never quit. You never give up. You are relentless. You're constantly asking the questions, constantly, constantly. You are relentless. Really good vocabulary, really good adjective. So the rain in Ireland is relentless. It never stops. So that's a good vocabulary for sure. Regarded is typical with the preposition as. Regarded as. Ireland is regarded as a wet country. You are regarded as. It's a typical combination. Regarded as. One of. Again, you remember the previous structure. One of. So here it's one of the greatest novels with the plural. Okay. Hilarious. So at once means at the same time, together at the same time. Hilarious and macabre, which is very dark, very sad. And I think it's a French word originally, which means very sad. And the next vocabulary for me is important is stand up. So obviously the verb to stand up is literal. So if you stand up, that's very, very literal. But we say stand up comedy is the entertainment. In the city, you go to the bar and you have stand up comedy. It's the person standing up telling the jokes. Okay, so stand up comedy is the show. It's the theater. It's the bar. You go to the bar and you have people telling jokes, standing up telling jokes. So we say a stand up comedian, which is the same type of artist, type of comedian that tells the jokes standing up. Remember, we say to stand up a person is completely different, and that's in relation to a date, romantic situation. If you organize the date and this person does not arrive, or you do not arrive, you stand up to the person. So it's to make the other person wait for almost maybe ever more to not appear. So if you do not appear, you stand the other person up. And we can also say a stand-up citizen. And that means a responsible citizen, a citizen you can trust, a person you can trust, a reliable person is a stand-up citizen. So that's possible as well with a different significance. And that's it. The next paragraph, I'm going to look for the word here is giddy. So Irish TV comedies may, that's the modal verb, might, may, could, have been. Again, it's the present perfect. It started in the past. It's probably finished. Around, that means existing. Okay, I have been around a long time, and that means I have existed. Okay, so I have been around a long time. The significance is existed. Okay, so for example, I have lived, I have existed a long time. Okay, that's the translation. It's very important. For example, McDonald's has been around for a long time. Apple, the company, has been around for a long time. We can also say to hang around is to wait. So if you're hanging around, you're waiting, maybe with nothing to do, you're hanging around. And here, the word is delicious, is typical with food. Normally, we say the food is delicious, but in this situation, it's an adjective. Yes, it's the ly, so it could be the adverb, but in this case, I think it's an exception, and I think it's the adjective. So it's adjective, 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 3 adjectives. And Father Ted was the series or the sitcom, very, very famous. So the article is related to the noun Father Ted. Giddy is very, very good adjective. Okay, so if you are giddy, it's very typical, like excited. You are very, very, like hyper. I think the best translation is hyper, really excited. It's typical with children. The children are very, very giddy. They're very excited because it's Christmas or because they drank fizzy drinks or sugary drinks. So they're very, very giddy. Excuse me. And I suppose you can say giddy up, which is very informal, but related to the horse. Okay, so if you're riding the horse and you say giddy up, that means to go quick or to go fast. So it's very typical when you're riding the horse to say giddy up. But the adjective giddy is the significance. You are very excited, you're very animated, you're very hyper. That's the best translation, hyper person. Okay, groundbreaking. So the program, the sitcom, was article, adjective, adjective, and noun hit. Okay, remember a hit is related to the success. The music was a hit, smash hit. Hit is the success. And in relation to the program, the television, the sitcom, it's a hit. It's a big success. Okay, so a hit is a big success and really, really good. So here, this is the article. So it's a hit. And then we have adjective, adjective, and groundbreaking is really, really important. So yeah, we say to break ground, to break new ground. This is very typical and it's related to medicine. It's related to research. So if you are researching the subject, you are investigating and you break new ground, that means you have a new discovery, a new invention, a new, some new product or new medicine. So you break ground, you achieve something that's new. And that's really, really good vocabulary, to achieve something incredible, to achieve something amazing, to break new ground. So the adjective groundbreaking is used for the program that achieves something new. So for example, this context, Father Ted was the television program that had a joke about maybe priests. And that was the story. It was very funny about the priests, about the people in the church. And for this reason, it was the first, maybe very successful program to make these jokes. That's the significance why we say groundbreaking. So it was a very important program to have success in that area. So it's groundbreaking. In medicine, for the virus, for the vaccine, the company produced a new vaccine, and this is groundbreaking medicine. So it's new medicine that has never happened before. And surreal, I think, is very similar in other languages, and it's almost like not real. So if something is surreal, I think the significance is almost not real. The sensation, it's a bit strange, it's a bit surreal, a little fake, and it's very typical as well. Mockumentary is interesting. So normally we say documentary, Okay, documentary is obviously number one, but this is creative, the verb to mock. So if you mock a person, it's like to criticize, or in English we say to slag, to criticize. So for example, if you mock me, you make fun of me. So you imitate me, so you mock me. Okay, so it's probably to imitate, to make fun. Very typical with children, they imitate or they mock the child. So mockumentary is a joke. It's very creative, that it's like a documentary except with jokes, to maybe criticize that it's a joke. Mockumentary, it's not typical, but the verb to mock is. And of course the famous book is To Kill a Mockingbird, I think is the famous book, To Kill a Mockingbird. So I suppose a mockingbird is a particular type of bird, but the verb to mock is to laugh at somebody or to joke about somebody. And again, drawing in fans is attracting fans from around the world. Okay, again, not bad, not too difficult, not amazing. There's maybe 6, 7, 8 very important expressions from the 2 paragraphs. And I think that's quite good. It's good practice every day to try new vocabulary, to look at new expressions, and it's very important you continue to read. We have done a lot of reading in the last month in April. We have done a lot of reading and analysis of articles. So hopefully next week, hopefully I can change the structure a little, and I would like to do more listening. So hopefully I can show you some listening material. We can analyze a video and we can look at listening exercises. That's my hope, and maybe focus on some writing as well. That's another objective too, because we have done a lot of reading and it's good and no problem. So maybe we continue as well some articles, but this is very, very good. And just to finish this paragraph, the new era is in relation to time. So this is the COVID era. I think it's like a period of time, an era. Okay, an era is a period of time. In Spanish, it's in época, and in Portuguese or other languages, I don't know exactly, but an era is a period of time. Begin is the verb, but it's irregular in the past. Begin and began, it's irregular. And here, a new dawn. Again, the verb to dawn is related to the sun. When the sun rises and the sun sets, and we say the dawn is the first moment. For example, in Ireland at 5 o'clock, 5:30, it's the dawn. It's the time the sun rises, is the dawn of the day. Okay, I think in Spanish again it's the alba, and the opposite is the dusk. Dusk is when the sun sets or the sun goes down. And here, a new dawn is a metaphor for a new era. It's a synonym of a new era, a new wave, a new era, a new dawn. We have an expression as well. It dawned on me. That means you suddenly realize. Okay, suddenly you realized. So, for example, you're thinking, and then suddenly the answer dawned on you, or the answer dawned on you. So the answer appeared, or the answer came. So that's really, really important. It dawned on me. The significance is you suddenly realized. Very typical in conversation, very common in English. And here, a new dawn is like a new era. Okay, is upon us. So it's really formal preposition, but it means up on, and it means it is here. So the new era is here. Yet is very important. Normally, yet is at the negative of the sentence. I have not received the book yet. So negative, we normally have yet, but it's possible at the start of a sentence with a completely different significance. However, so you are happy in Dublin, yet the weather is very bad. So you are happy in Dublin. However, the weather is very, very bad. So yet is flexible. It could be for the negative at the end of the sentence, and also it's possible at the start of the sentence with the significance however. And here it's however. This is very important as well. The verb is to deny. So if you deny the person, it's like reject. So there's lots of examples with the criminal and the police. So the criminal does the crime and the criminal says he denies or she denies that it was not me. So I deny the situation. So it's an important verb to deny when you do not accept your responsibility, or you do not admit that you were the person. So you deny. Maybe in access, you want to enter the building and the security deny you access, so they stop you entering. And the negative, so sorry, the adjective is deniable and the negative is undeniable. So for example, Ireland is a very cold country, and this comment is undeniable. You cannot deny this comment. You cannot disagree with this comment. So here, it's the adjective is very important as well. Bleak. So if something is very, very bleak, it's very, very dark. Okay, very wet, very depressing, very, very sad. Okay, so again, the weather is very bleak. It's the adjective, and then substantivo, or the noun, you can see the importance of the suffix ness. Normally is the noun. Happiness, loneliness. So normally the suffix ness represents the noun, and here bleakness is the verb, is like darkness, okay, or depressing again. So the bleakness is the darkness, okay, but it's the noun, and that means it's impossible to disagree that it's very dark or very depressing, okay. And again, grim is the same. Grim is very, very dark. Grim is depressing. Grim is sad, not happy, dull. Very good vocabulary, very fluent. So the weather is grim. The prospects, the prospects or the hope is very grim. The opportunities are very grim, so very depressing, very no hope. And the final word is important. Hilarity is the noun. So the adjective is hilarious. And the substantivo is hilarity. Okay, so just good. And hilarious is very, very funny. The program was hilarious. The movie was hilarious. It was very, very funny. Okay, good. And I'm happy with that analysis. 2 paragraphs, good vocabulary. And I think that's a good technique and a good method to help a little. So little by little, it's good to show you some vocabulary and to show you some expressions. It's tricky. Every day to study English, it is tricky, and the classes sometimes are very difficult. But I just think a little by little, it is very important. Remember, the introduction document is important. This document is key, and you have all the grammar topics here. You have all the important parts of English in this document. It's very, very important. And also in this, we have the article from a typical newspaper, a typical topic. So it's good quality. And I think that type of studying will be very, very useful. Of course, we have phrasal verbs, we have idioms, but that's little by little again. So thank you everybody for attending. Thank you for watching. Remember social media. If you want to connect on social media, you can connect on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We have some content from Instagram, some different quotes and some different pictures. YouTube, as this class is uploaded to YouTube, and Twitter as well. We have the same content more or less, and Facebook as well. So you can find me on all the channels if you want. This is free, so the class is free. And thank you to everybody who has supported me on Facebook, supported me on Twitter, and who has donated money to support me. It's the end of the month, and we've had a great April. Very, very good April, I think. Very heavy with the material, very difficult. And thank you again to people who have supported me and made a small donation, or people who have attended the webinars. And for other people maybe watching on Facebook or watching on YouTube, you are welcome to leave a small tip or a small donation. There are maybe 3 or 4 ways. The best way, if you want to support me, is to make a small transfer or a small tip with the information here, the bank details. You need the IBAN or the BIC if you want to leave a small donation. The second possibility is the application Revolut with the telephone number. And the third possibility, maybe more typical in Spain, is the application Bizum as well. And you just need the telephone number. PayPal is the final possibility, but there is a commission for PayPal, and that's the 4 options as well. Today at 4 o'clock we have 1 o'clock today we have the webinar dedicated to the B2 exam. So now I will prepare a little for this, and everybody is welcome to join if you want. There's obviously a small fee you can see here, but it could be useful for people as well, and I think we've 1 or 2 people confirmed already. Okay, so thank you very much, everybody. I hope that you have a good Saturday, and it's the weekend, so I hope you enjoy your weekend a lot. Of course, we're still recording this class, so if you want to, if the people on Zoom want to participate, want to ask a question during the class, you are welcome now to make a comment. If not, we will finish. And I hope again that you have a great weekend and a good Saturday and a good holiday, because today is a holiday and Monday, and the weekend is a long weekend for most people. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a good evening, and hopefully talk to you soon. Bye-bye.